What's going on, guys? All right, so I want to talk about cost of mistakes, basically. So this is probably a good thing for you guys to know what it kind of costs you when you make a mistake. And I'll explain what it costs me when I make a mistake. So, for example, when I make a mistake, when I charge by the hour, basically. So when I'm looking at a vehicle, I'm looking at the vehicle and saying, okay, this vehicle is going to take me 10 hours from beginning to end. That's prep, disassembly, reassembly, and the wrap, everything all in one. Just I'm saying 10 hours in general. Could be 20 hours. So what do I want to make in that 10 hours worth of work? What is my time worth, basically? My time, I charge $150 an hour. That's what I charge, just to kind of give you an idea. So when I'm looking at a car that's, going to say, let's say 10 hours, that means I have to charge, make a profit in labor of $1,500. Not too bad, but we have material costs on top of that. So material costs, again, that can be anywhere from like $600 to several $1,000s, depending on if it's chrome. Now, if I make a mistake, let's say I made a mistake on the Shelby Cobra. We made a mistake putting the door back on, where we nicked the wrap on the front passenger side quarter panel. Now that's a huge bummer, because that was like a really tough car to wrap, and on top of that, it's a big piece of material. So really, I had to prepare myself mentally again to wrap this panel. I had to remove the wrap. I had to buy more wrap because I didn't have enough. So the wrap itself, I'll tell you this, cost me $300. So that was just the material. In Avery brushed aluminum, that was a total of 7 yards, I believe, 6 or 7 yards. So it cost me just over $300 for the material. And then I had about 4 hours worth of work to redo. So, because that panel takes a long time. Now, so 4 hours worth of work, 4 hours times 150 is $600, plus the material costs, $300. We're looking at almost $1,000 after tax. That's a lot of money for 4 hours worth of my time, and so just for the mistake that it cost me. One little mistake costs almost $1,000. This is why we want to be careful. When it comes to redoing a door handle, redoing a mirror, usually it's not that big of a deal. It takes 5-10 minutes to do a door handle. Okay, that's okay. Door handles are probably your most likely point of failure on a vehicle. Same with your mirrors and your bumpers. The bumpers really suck because they are a high failure point, high risk, and on top of that, they take a long time to do. So, and they're a big piece of material. So this is why I always recommend having extra material on hand. When because we all make mistakes. When we have extra material on hand, then we don't have to go out and buy the material. So that saves us on the cost. And it's usually cheaper to buy all the material all at once, like 75 feet, than it is to keep buying 5-yard increments. You save a few dollars with that. Again, now let's talk about the Mercedes. So the Mercedes, I spent about a day wrapping it for the half of the car. And then I had to remove the wrap. So I spent about 4 hours wrapping, not 4 hours, probably like 6 hours wrapping the side of the car. So $150 times 6, and then I had the material cost on top of that. The whole roll of 3M we tossed out in the garbage. We know that. So this is why I vent when I was venting when I had issues with the roll of vinyl, because it's really a struggle to deal with how much that costs. On top of the actual work you put in yourself, it's not even just always about the money. It's just about the time that it takes you to do it, right? The effort that you put in. I always put in 110% in every wrap that I do, and that helps to reduce failure. But again, failure does happen. Paint could be coming off, whatever. You might have not cleaned the surface properly. You might have overstretched the film. There are many, many reasons on why a wrap can fail. Now, being in this industry, this is a very high-risk business. High risk meaning that there's a high risk. This is not like changing the oil on a car or being a mechanic where you take a wheel off, put a wheel on, change your brakes. Like, the brakes work, the wheels on the car, the oil's changed. With a wrap, you don't actually know your wrap's solid until like 2 or 3 weeks down the road. Because in that first 2 or 3 weeks, as soon as it goes outside in the sun, or if it's warm out or cold out, it's going to change, all right? Things are going to change. It's It's a stretchable material and it reacts to temperatures, and it's always going to change. It's really difficult to make the vinyl sit 100% over the entire car all the time. This is why I back up the works, because I know from my experience that I might have overstretched the door handle, or I might not have cleaned that door handle properly on one side, so it might actually lift up on one end. Again, we want to try and minimize things coming back. And when we're thinking about what it's actually costing us, so maybe you want to charge $50 an hour. It's what it actually costs you in the end is your time. And on top of that, material. The material is usually the lower cost of everything. It's the time in general, because when I'm booked until mid-October. That's to have things come back really sets things back. Like I don't have it in my schedule to take care of these things very often. I do have some flexibility. Again, small things do come back: antennas, door handles, sometimes a mirror, but nothing really ever major. So we do always fix those kinds of things. Like I said, when I had to rewrap the Mercedes, I was struggling mentally. I was very frustrated with it. It's difficult to deal with when it costs you that amount of time, that amount of money, and the material on top of that. I just went and bought a new roll of Avery, right? So I ended up spending double on material. It cost me 6 hours worth of time, and plus removal on top of that, so maybe another hour. And it's just a struggle to deal with. So that's a lot of money in the end. Obviously we're trying to make this into a business where you can survive and pay the bills. So people don't always understand why it costs so much to wrap a car. In my opinion, let's say the price starts at $2,500 to wrap a car. That's actually not a lot of money considering what goes into the actual wrap. When you have a good installer and they're taking time and they're putting in effort to make sure that this wrap is good, $2,500 is not a lot of money. We're changing the entire aesthetic appearance of the vehicle on the exterior, the entire look of the whole car. That's a big change. It's not like just slapping on some wheels. People will spend $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 on some wheels, but they won't spend a third of that on wrapping a car. Again, it's difficult to find people. Some people do understand. Some people will get it. Again, I wanted to explain for those of you who are actually maybe looking to get your car wrapped, what goes into it and why we charge what we charge for labor. Guys, I hope this video was informative to you. And if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you guys want to see more videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Again, it was just kind of just to help you along and help you figure out why I get frustrated and what I actually charge per hour and what things cost me in the end. So it's always material and labor in the end. And then also, your mental frustration that you might have to go with in some situations. Things are not always easy as a fender or a door handle. So keep that in mind. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Take care.